This is the Newbie Bloggers group. This is how to create and monetize your blog. Now, we go through a whole series of 6 steps on creating your blog name, getting online, customizing, writing, promoting, and monetizing. Those are the 6 steps. And today we're all about the writing and publishing. That's our topic for the month of October. And then November, we go into promoting. December, we go into monetizing. And then in January, we get to start over again. So for those of you that feel like you want to start from the beginning, we can actually start with creating your blog name and what that means and how to attract clients, because you have to start with the end in mind on how you want to monetize as to how you want to name it at the beginning. So anyway, but today it's all about writing and getting published. So I was just asking Linda, where are you in your blogging venture so far?
For me,
sorry.
For me, I have 2 domains. One that is, of course, promoting the Legacy of Love project. And I can fill in. Is Shanti in the room now too?
Yes, she just now jumped in. Yes. So welcome, Shanti.
Hello there. Yeah, so I have the Legacy of Love project, which, by the way, is launching November 1. I've scheduled it after my mother has 2 cataract surgeries this month, and it was going to put too much of a monkey wrench in the works. So I'm starting November 1. I'm so happy. And so I have that domain and activity under that, but I also decided on like my umbrella idea for my blog, and I have the domain, which is ichooseabundance.com.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like it.
I like it a lot, and it covers a lot of things, which is, financial abundance, time freedom, but also having a quality personal life, not leaving that out, and doing things more simply instead of in ways that are complicated and draining and make you hate life. So it's all about let it be easy, let it be fun, let it be good, those kinds of things. And so that's where I thought the blog would be. And I do have a question that you can address later if you want, which is, I know you use HostGator and you had said that it's one of the easier ones. But I noticed when I went to look it up under your affiliate code, I might add, that it's based on WordPress. And the story I'm telling myself in my mind is that WordPress is hard and complicated and a big learning curve. And so I need you to walk me back and tell me that it's going to be okay, and that I'm not biting off a big hassle because I have too much else going on in my world right now. Oh, no sound. Wait, no sound.
That's all. Now, do you hear me now?
Yeah.
That's all about getting online and finding the right platform. So we'll delve into that just a bit today.
That's great.
Yes. Perfect. The guys are mowing outside my window. That's why I muted myself. Sorry about that. My mowing company just showed up. Of course, it's always at the most inopportune time, but right. Can you hear them in the background? I'm
not hearing them.
Okay, because they're very loud to me. So anyway, I'll just unmute so that I don't forget to unmute.
Yeah, and then I just wanted to add as the last part of the answer to your question, I'm ready to start publishing content. So I would like to get my platform up, and I want to start putting good stuff on there. Okay, perfect.
Now, I'll say your name wrong again. Soraya.
It's like Maria with an S.
Okay. Soraya. Okay. Where are you in your blogging so far?
So I have a domain. I haven't done anything with it. So I am really at the beginning. I know what I want to write about. I know what I want it to be about. I have a Teachables subscription because I want to sell some courses. I don't have a course up on that yet, but I was looking for a way to combine those, and I had read something in Teachables on their help page about something that they do. It's like $24 a month to combine with that. And that's literally as far as I've looked into it, but I've already paid a bundle for the Teachables. So I'd really like to have those be as cohesive as possible.
Okay. I'll make a note to cover that as well. Okay, and Shanti, how about you? Where are you in your blogging process so far?
So I've been making some progress since the last time we spoke. There's a gentleman that's on YouTube, and I've watched his videos twice now to help me to figure out how to design the blog. So I have already done my homepage, my about page. I'm getting ready to install a blogging page. So Miss Linda, maybe if I can give you this guy's information as well, I'll place it in the chat because it's actually on WordPress. And I couldn't find anybody to help me to build the site without, a crazy fee. This guy on YouTube actually shows you from start to finish how to go. And I also purchased through Bluehost. But I did that back in 2020 when I purchased the domain and everything. I've also found out that you can purchase a domain name cheaper through namecheap.com. Didn't know that until now. So as far as with the blog, I'm actually almost done with the creating part so that I'll be able to start placing articles on the blog to publish. So I plan to get that done in the next 3 weeks because I don't want to overwhelm myself. So I'm just giving myself some time to pace out, do the design, go through everything, make sure everything is connected, get an article. Well, the plan is to get about 3 articles on there and then hit publish by the first week of November. That's where
You're doing it. I love it. I love it. All of you are going forward. I love it. This is great information. So here's where I want to start today. I'm going to back up a little bit. And here is the first question that you have to ask yourself. Is the blog going to be the end of my offerings? Is that going to be where I want to drive everyone to, is to that blog site, that blog platform? We're going to talk about platforms for just a moment. Or is your blog more to advertise a different site and a different platform that you want to drive people to? Oh, we've got somebody else in, we've got David in there. David, we're going to bring you up so we can see you. So click through for us so that we can see you over here. If you stay over there, that's fine, but you can hear us. But if you click through, you'll be able to see us and we'll be able to see you as well. So welcome, David. Can you hear us okay? Now, David could be in a situation where he has to listen and not be able to participate. There he is. Hi, David. You're on mute. We don't hear you. In 1 second, he says, okay, I get it. We just want to make sure that David's all tapped in before I go on. All right, David, I'm going to go ahead and continue since we're recording. And if you get the opportunity, you can certainly chat with us. So anyway, when you're thinking about where you want to send all of your readers, do you want to send them Saria, do you want to send them to a teachable platform where you're going to have some courses? Do you want to send them maybe over to a Squarespace where you're going to be selling some products? Maybe you're a candle maker and you want to send them over just to buy your products, and you're blogging to get people to get to know, like, and trust you so that they tap over onto the site where you want them to actually spend money. Now, if the blogging site is going to be your main platform, if the blogging site's going to be where you want everyone to land, and that's where you're going to build your whole business, then WordPress certainly makes sense because you can tailor that WordPress however you want it to be. And the way WordPress works is it's a blank slate and you buy these plugins. And as you buy the plugins, you can then tailor make what you can buy a store plugin, you can buy a PayPal plugin, you can bring over a blogging plugin, you can bring over you know, pictures plugin if you want to do a whole picture gallery. Maybe you're an artist and you want to share all of your artwork. And so WordPress is totally for the creative, where you want to make it yours and make it look the way you want it to look. Now, because like Saria, I have a teachable platform because my whole goal was to have an international academy, and I wanted to blog to send people back to my academy. And so I just wanted a blog site, and that's all I'm going to use it for. I'm not going to add PayPal buttons. I'm not going to add artwork buttons. I'm not going to add, you know, courses. I'm not going to add anything like that to that particular platform. I just wanted a platform to hold my blog where folks could like search, and I could, you know, they could pull up a particular blog date or a particular blog post. So with that said, I decided to just Google, you know, what are the top blog sites and which ones are the easiest. And HostGator always came up in the top 5. And so I chose HostGator strictly because of price point, because like Saria, I was already spending a ton of money on my Teachable platform. And so I didn't want to spend now a bunch to buy all these plugins on WordPress and then try to find somebody like Shanti to help me figure out how to build my WordPress site. I wanted a plug and play. I wanted a drop and drag. I wanted this site where I could just say, I like that color, and that's the way I want mine to look, because they have already prefabbed some of those sites. Now, let me tell you, when you go to HostGator, HostGator is just a company that took WordPress and already made some themes for you, already put some colors in there for you, and just put it out there and to where you just click and go, drag and drop. And so that's why I chose HostGator. It's basically the same as WordPress, except somebody else did all the plugins for me before I got there. Does that make sense? And when you look at Wix and Weebly and all of those, they're all based on WordPress. They're all based on WordPress. They're just saying use our software because we've already basically put together some themes for you on WordPress. And now you can just go in and pick the theme you like the best, and you're further along, so that you're not having to figure out how do I get the right, you know, drop in to the plugin to go buy. So I hope that makes a little more sense. So there's nothing wrong with WordPress. All of them are based on WordPress. WordPress is the foundation of all websites. And even me, my original website is on, oh, we've got Alyssa in the audience. Alyssa, can you hear us? So even with my original website, which is on a Vistaprint, again, it's just a version of WordPress, and Vista simply has paid their programmers to put together a package. And so when you go onto Vista, they've already created a bunch of graphics. So now you can get a banner, you can get a business card, you can get your website, you can get everything to match. You know, that's Vista's big selling point, is make your business look like you've been in business for 10 years because everything matches. And so I started on actual Vistaprint for my blog because, you know, it says here's a blogging page, you know, that you can click on and it'll drop it over, you know, drag and drop again right into my website. And I went there first, but it wasn't very blog friendly. You couldn't sort by blog titles. You couldn't sort by blog dates. It basically was just a list. You know, you made a blog, kind of like on Facebook, you made a blog and then it pushed it down when you made your next blog. And then when you made the next blog, it pushed that one down in your next. So there was no way if someone wanted to sort or search by a title or by a date of a blog, they'd have to just scroll through all my blogs to maybe find one. And so it wasn't very blogger friendly, I didn't think. So that's when I went out and searched, and that's when I chose HostGator for that reason, because again, it's drag and drop, plug and play. You know, you don't have to learn WordPress. And I didn't want to learn WordPress because I was still trying to learn Teachable. And I didn't want to learn WordPress and Teachable and all these other, and I was, you know, getting onto Zoom, and I was figuring out Zoom. And then I was putting my events over on Meetup, and I was figuring out Meetup, and and then somebody said, oh, you should run ads on Facebook. And I said, okay, I can't do all these things. And so that's why I chose, and that's why I say, and that's why I chose that I am not a WordPress girl, because I didn't want to do what Shanti is doing. So kudos to you, Shanti, for figuring that out and finding, and she put it over in the chat. And it is Tyler Moore on YouTube for WordPress help. And so anybody that wants to look that up, that is in the chat. Tyler Moore on YouTube for WordPress help. So does that make it a little easier to understand about WordPress and which site you're going to use? So anyhow, that's a conversation about what platform you're going to get on. The other thing, and I'll mention this before we go on to today's topic, is when I chose HostGator, it combined the whole thing together. It let me do my domain name and pick my theme all in one application. I didn't have to go one place and buy my domain, go somewhere else and get on my platform and then connect the two. It did all of that for me. And so I wanted that to happen too. And that's where we get into that whole conversation about your blog name. Make sure that you have this umbrella title that's going to encompass everything that you want to talk about, so that you don't limit yourself. I'm so guilty of choosing too narrow of a path. And I'll give you a perfect example. When I got into the salon business, I called my salon All About Nails because I was a nail tech. And within 6 months, I wanted to add hair, and I had named the salon All About Nails. And then I was like, okay, I got to change the name of the salon already. Right as people were starting to know who we were, I had changed the name so I could add hair. And then we added tanning, and so I ended up changing it to All About You instead of All About Nails. And so All About You Salon Suites is where we ended. And then I went for 25 years with that name. But within 6 months, I realized I'd picked too narrow of a name. So don't do that. Make sure that whatever name you choose for your blog, that it will encompass all the things that you want to talk about. And that's why Linda was just sharing the name that she has chosen. And tell us that name again, Linda. I love it.
There we go. It's ichooseabundance.com.
Yeah, so you see where she can write about a lot of different topics under that name. Alyssa, welcome. I see you have your hand up. Did you have a question? You can unmute.
Hi, hello, thank you. Thank you. Hello, everybody. I wanted to say hello to you and apologize for my delay. And I cannot switch my camera, but if you can hear me, it's fine.
Yes, we can hear you fine.
Thank you so much.
Thank you and welcome. We're glad that you're here. Yes, thank you so much.
To you.
So we want to talk again about WordPress. Now, Linda, did that help answer some of your questions about WordPress? And again, if that's where you've started and that's where you're at and everything is already built on WordPress, you do not need to start over, because all the platforms out there are based on WordPress. It just depends on how much learning curve you want versus buying kind of a ready-made for you WordPress site.
That really helped because as you already had your stuff going on Teachable, I already have a website, a membership site, etc., set up elsewhere. And I wanted the power of a blog hosting site so that you could not have that endless scroll like you were describing, that you could tag things, organize things, and have like here, start here, or top posts. Readers have loved these, whatever. I wanted those kind of features, but I didn't want to have to start buying plugins and piecing together something and having that whole learning curve. So yes, you have walked me back from the edge, and I thank you for that.
Very good. And again, there's nothing wrong with WordPress. Again, all of the sites out there are based on WordPress. WordPress is kind of the foundation of all blog platforms. And again, it just depends on which company has tried to make it easier for their members, like Wix or Weebly or HostGator or all of those that you see out there. So there's not a wrong choice. It's whatever works best for you, and HostGator works best for me. And again, it's what you get used to as well. It's what you get used to. I have several folks that are in our mastermind. We also have a blogging mastermind, and we meet once a month as well. And I have several folks in the mastermind that are using WordPress because they've always used WordPress, and WordPress does not scare them. And we even have one gal that had used to teach WordPress. Now she's not interested in teaching these days because she's now trying to do her own schooling, but she definitely uses WordPress because she's comfortable with it. And again, it's what you get used to, you know. And Shanti, are you discovering that the more you get into your WordPress, as it makes sense to you, you're starting to be more comfortable with the platform?
Only because of the guy, Tyler Moore. If I was not looking at his videos, I would not, because there is a builder that's on WordPress called Elementor, and
Yes.
Elementor is a drag and drop. And by following Tyler's video, it helps me to design the blog exactly how I want to. And I had my hand up because I had a question, because someone told me that there was a difference between WordPress.com and WordPress.org. What's the difference?
The WordPress.com is a commercial WordPress, and the WordPress.org is a free WordPress. And don't quote me, and I'll have to do a little research to answer that question thoroughly, unless somebody else on the call knows the answer. But on one, you can, I think, monetize it, and on one, I think they discourage you from monetizing. But I'll double check, and I'm making a note of that. So we'll research that and find out the difference. Which one are you on currently, Shanti?
I'm on WordPress.org because a blogger recommended it from YouTube, but it was so many years ago, and I can't remember why she said that she chose org versus .com. So I want to say maybe you can do more of what you want on .org than you can on .com. So
I was thinking it was the other way around, but I'll double check that.
Okay.
Saria, did you have a comment or a question?
I have a question and it's not related to that. So if
Okay.
I don't want to move you on until you're finished with that question.
I made a note. I made a note for Shanti to look that up to see what the difference is between the two and which one gives you more freedom.
Perfect. So yeah, my question is kind of back to, so I was saying, you know, I'm on Teachables and you're saying you are too, and use HostGator. And is that, have you found that really cohesive, and do they work well together?
Well, now it depends on what you want it to do together. What do you want your blog post to do versus your Teachable? For me, and I have another whole course called Build a Better Business, and I will just mention that while we're on the call, because for some of us, the blog is not the business. The blog is just to get people to come back to your business. And so in my Build a Better Business course, we talk all about how to create our offers and, you know, what our story is and how to, you know, our marketing and our selling and all of that, and how to put all of those offers together. And then once we have all that done, we talk about now, how are we going to get people to go over to our website to buy those offers? And one of the things is to create a blog, because people can get to know, like, and trust you you know, just listening to your blog, or, you know, reading your blog post. They get to kind of hear your voice, so to speak, by reading your words. And they say, I really like this person, and I really like what they're talking about. I like what they're doing. I like what they're selling. I like everything about it. So I'm going to click through. And when they click through, they end up back over on your Teachable or wherever you're sending them. And so that's how I'm using my blog. So it depends on how you're using your blog. If you're using your blog as a marketing tool, which is what I'm doing, then HostGator works very well with Teachable. If your blog itself is where you're monetizing, if that's the end result, let's just say you just want to be a big time blogger and you want to create all of these affiliate links and you want to make your money just from the blog. You're not going to send them anywhere else. You're sending people to the blog. That's where you want them to land, because that's where you're monetizing. That's where you're making your money. So you have to decide, again, where the end, you have to start with the end in mind. Where do you want your customers, if you're going to monetize, where do you want them to end up? I want my customers to end up in Teachable. So Saria, where do you want your customers to end up?
Yes, I want them to end up in Teachable. I'm using the blog as other things. I'm trying to build a speaking business.
Okay.
And I am writing a book. I would like to throw some affiliate links into the blog, but that's not
Right.
the main goal. The main goal is to sell courses and get speaking engagements. And I have some other kind of big ideas, big goals.
Okay, perfect. You're in the exact same spot I'm in. So here's what I'm going to say to you. It doesn't matter what platform you use for your blog. Use one that's easy, that you can learn quickly, so that you can direct folks back to your main platform. And
But
so
I would say too, sorry, I am just a moron when it comes to technology. I hate it and it hates me. I'm one of those people, when the more I work on it, like the farther away I get from the end goal, it's impressive. I'm impressively bad at it. And I hate social media. So I really want the blog to be where people can come and learn about me. I just don't want all the foolishness surrounding that. So it's, yes, I need something that a 2-year-old could figure out.
Well, here's one of the easiest things to do in any blog, and you've done it, I'm sure, in your emails. You know how when you want to put a link in an email, you can highlight it, and there's that little link button where it says you can bold or italicize or whatever your type, and there's a little link button there. And if you hit that, it'll say what link do you want to add into your email. All the blog posts have that. All the blog sites have that, and that's pretty elementary. And so whatever blog site you choose, all you have to do is as you're talking about your academy or your teachable school or whatever you're going to call it, or whatever you're talking about, all you have to do is highlight that sentence and put the link back to it right under that sentence. So it's not hard to link out of your blog. And that's what you're going to do with your affiliate links. You're simply going to hit that little link button, and you're going to underneath, I purchased this great light ring so I could do Zoom calls, and under great light ring, you're going to put your Amazon affiliate link for folks to hop over to Amazon to buy the same light ring. And so that's all that is. And that is easy. It's elementary. And you can do that in any of your writing. You can do that in a post on Facebook. You can do that on your blog post. You can do that in an email. And so when you're starting to market any blog, you'll be able to link back to your school, back to your Teachable.
Right, great. Thank you so much.
And so that's going to be the worst that you're going to have to learn on technology. Now, for me, and again, with that same thing in mind, I started my original website on Vista. And on Vistaprint. And now for those of you that go, okay, that was really dumb. Why did Kathy do that? Okay. Back in the day, I had salons. Remember, I named the salon the wrong name early on. I had salons. And so I went with Vista because I just needed a website that just basically said who, what, when, and where we were. And I wanted business cards to match. And then the girls wanted what's called a counter card, so it had their price list on it, so we could put it on the counter at the salons. And I wanted everything to match. So I went with Vista, and I was with Vistaprint for 25 years with the salon businesses. And I had 5 salons by the time I retired. So I had to have a site that I could update myself as these girls would leave and come, and I would hire more and whatever, as the turnover happened. I had to be able to update this site myself. I didn't want to wait or pay someone else to update it every time I needed to update one of the stylist names or a price change, for example. So I went with Vista. So then when I retired and decided that I was going to start my Teachable Academy, I thought, well, I'm just going to use Vista because I already, you kind of stick with what you know. And then a year into that, when I decided I wanted to add a blog to help promote my school, is when I decided that Vista did not have a good blog plugin. And so at that point, when I searched and found HostGator, what I did in my Vista is I created a page for my blog. But and I'm saying this for those of you that are maybe not too technologically friendly, like Saria is saying, when I got to that, I thought, how am I going to get people to get over to my HostGator from my Vista? And so what I did is, number one, I had a particular color that my website was in Vista. And for those of you that have even explored a little bit about website design, you'll know what I'm talking about. All the colors have a color code. And if you tap on the color, the numbers come up. And usually you get this wheel and you get to pick a color in this color range, you know, and then once you pick the color you like, a little code will come up. So then when I went to HostGator, I picked a red because I'm using kind of a burgundy red in my Vista, but I couldn't quite on that color wheel where you just click around on a color. I couldn't quite get the exact color. And so then I was like, duh, why don't I go get the code? So I went over to Vista and I just copied the code. I went back over to HostGator and I pasted the code. And guess what? My HostGator and Vista are now the exact same shade of red. And so I wanted that to happen because when I now go to Vista and somebody clicks on my blog page, I simply put the link underneath that page over to my HostGator homepage. See, and again, it's the same thing. I just went up to the little link button and clicked on that and it said, where do you want to link it to? I went over to my HostGator, I copied the URL, I went back to Vista, I pasted the URL in under that little link button. And now when folks click on my blog page on Vista, it automatically opens my homepage of HostGator. They don't even realize they've left the website. Are you following me? Because now the colors of the Vista and the HostGator are the exact same shade of red. So they think that they just went to my blog page on my website. They don't even realize that they've switched websites. So anyway, that I'm just painting a picture here for you so you understand that it really, you don't have to be, you know, really technically savvy to make this work. You can make it work with some links, and that's pretty elementary on how to create a link. So any questions before we go on? Because the next thing I want to talk about is actually getting your content out there, because content is king. And we're talking about writing and publishing and getting your content out there. So my question is where do you create your content? Now, Saria and I are probably going to be in the same vein. I create my content in my school. I create a module for a course. And so now that's kind of the beginning of my content, is I'm creating a module for a course. Once I have that module, then I ask myself, how am I going to advertise this information? How am I going to point people back to get them to click on this module? So now I can take that same module, that same article, if you will, and I can put it in a blog. I can put it in a newsletter. I can send it off for a magazine article. I can take paragraphs of it and use it as a social media post. So you see how I am publishing that content in maybe 10 different places, and I only had to write it once. Are you following that? Questions, comments? I want to see where everybody is on this subject before we get any deeper. Any other comments or questions from anyone about content? So I do want to go around and ask, when you're creating content, where do you start? What's the starting point of content? Is the blog the starting point for you? Are you writing a blog post? Is that going to be the beginning of your content? Or is it going to be somewhere else? Are you going to write a newsletter and now you want to put that over into your school? You want to put that out on a blog? You want to put that out in a magazine article? So where do you want to start? And that's the big question, because oftentimes that's what has everybody kind of stopped. They don't know where to start. So they don't, because they're not sure where to start. So I'm going to pick on a couple that have been with me before. So I'm going to pick on Linda first. Linda, where do you start to create your content?
I think the answer is it's going to be kind of multi-pronged. Like, I'll have an idea for a piece of content, and I may write a short blog post about it, but I may also do a short form video. like 1-minute videos on Facebook, Instagram, even YouTube Shorts. And they'll all kind of point to each other. And then I want to support that with emails that will point to any of those places that I want to emphasize. But the blog is going to be key, not as my primary business, as you were saying, but it'll point to my membership and what I'm doing in my main business. But also I plan to do a lot of affiliate marketing as well. So it's going to be an important leg of what I'm doing.
All right. So my question is this: where are you going to mostly, and I'll call it a landing page. Where do you want all your customers to land to monetize your business? And again, for Saria and I, we're having them all land on Teachable. That's where I'm going to put everything that I can monetize. I'm going to have it on Teachable. Where are you going to put everything other than maybe an affiliate link where you might send them back to Amazon or send them over to a publisher, or depending on what you're writing about? Where are you going to have them land to buy your products?
On my webpage, there's a landing page where they can learn more about my course. And so that's my primary emphasis right now. They can see if they start resonating with what they read and see, and then that takes them to a sales page that is part of, you know, my world on my website. So thankfully, I don't need to get involved in buying all the plugins to build a business over on WordPress.
Okay. So once you get your blog set up, you're pretty well done there. Once you get just the plugins that you need to blog, because you're going to be sending them back to your website, which is where all your products are. So here's what I would recommend. Every single time you blog, or every single time you put something out across social media, I would have it always point back to a page somewhere on your website. So even if you're doing those videos, have a place on your website for those videos to be housed, if you will. Does that make sense?
No.
Okay, for example, I'm doing this call on Zoom and it's going to give me a video recording at the end because we're recording. And so it's going to give me a video recording at the end. So I will have a replay of this video. I house all of my video replays on Teachable. And Saria, this is a good one for you. So once you do a mastermind or a 5-day challenge or you know, a masterclass, anything that you're doing, and you want to upsell like a little VIP ticket, you know, to get to monetize it a little more, then one of the things in your VIP is you might say, hey, if you want to buy the VIP, you have the replays forever. Well, where are you gonna store those replays? And so I actually store all my replays right on my Teachable site. And so, because again, that's where I want everyone to land. See, now every time I blog and I say something about, oh, and if you want to watch the replay of blah, 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 here's the link, and I can link them. And again, you just go to the little link button and I link them right over to that Teachable page where I'm housing those replays. So and what happens is when people are there, then they start looking around, see, because that is where all your stuff is. And then they start, and I'm guilty. If you're interested in something about somebody and you go to their website, don't you kind of click around and go, oh, look, they've got books, they've got a blog, they've got a podcast, and you start looking around in their website. And so always send folks back to where you're going to house all your stuff. And I recommend you house it all together. Does that make more sense?
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Any other comments, questions, concerns about getting your content out there? Okay, I'm going to pick on Shanti next. Shanti, where do you start creating your content? What is the original place that you start?
So my content is going to start on the blog where I'm just doing articles because I'm going to monetize products for right now. So
okay. Yeah. So now where are your products going to be? Where are you going to house the picture of the product, and you know, where are you going to put your store?
It's just going to be Amazon links. So
Okay. Okay. So you're just going to monetize through an affiliate link back to Amazon.
yes,
Okay. Okay.
but I'll
All
write
right.
a lot of content around those products, if that makes any sense.
Yes, that does make sense. I would recommend one more step for you.
Okay.
I would recommend on that blog site, especially since you're on WordPress and you're creating your blog site, I would recommend that you also create a picture inventory page. Have you gone into a site before where, let me just use candles as an example. Somebody is selling candles and you click and it takes you to their candle store site. And all of a sudden you see all the different candles, all the different things. Maybe they've got soaps, maybe they've got lotions, maybe, you know, and all of a sudden you're in their store and you're like, oh, maybe I'll get 2 of these and 1 of those. And oh, I didn't think about this because that wasn't in the blog, but the blog sent me there. So now my order is going to be even more. I suggest that you create a store somewhere and put your affiliate link under each one of those store items so that if somebody happens to land on your store page, they might buy even more than what you're blogging about that particular day.
Okay, so I've seen that, and you said that's called, that's a store page or inventory?
It should be it should be a store, and it's where then you could even put, you know, it wouldn't have to just be Amazon. It could be everything that you're selling. You know, maybe you're selling some books that, you know, my favorite, but remember Oprah, my favorite things with Oprah?
Mhm.
Yeah, if you go to her website, she's got a whole page of my favorite things. And all they are is affiliate links
Yeah.
because she doesn't make any of those products. And she's just calling them my favorite things. And so you can go to her my favorite things page and you can click through and buy all of her favorite things.
That's perfect. Thank you, Kathy.
Okay. Saria, yes.
So is that because she is in WordPress? Is that something that's going to be easier for her to do versus somebody like you who's using HostGator or something else?
Yes and no. Most of your sites will have a store page, and on Teachable, you can create your own store page. If Teachable is going to be your end platform where you're sending everyone to, you can actually create a store page there. If you have a separate website from Teachable, you can use Teachable as your main website or separate from your main website. Have you decided that yet, or do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, and the plan is to do as few different things as possible because again, tech moron. So
you want to do
as
much on
yes.
Teachable then. If that's where you want to have, you can do your private coaching there, you can do your store page there, you can put your blog over there, you can do all of that over there on Teachable.
Wonderful, thank you.
All right. I don't want to put anybody else on the spot. David, how about you? Tell us a little bit about you and where you are in your blogging process and what your goals are.
Hey, good morning. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so sorry. I was having I left the house this morning to get away from the dogs, and then the internet wasn't working here, and then, you know, anyway, it was a mess. So sorry for the inconvenience. I am really early on in my process. I actually so I'm hearing a lot of words that I'm gonna have to go back and do some research on, which is exciting too. I am in the aviation industry. I'm a pilot. I have a background in recruiting, so I did a lot of resume writing, interview preparation, and so my actually main source. I'm fixing to release the website. I've been working on that for a while with a designer, and my main source of income is going to be resume writing and interview prep. For those specifically in the aviation industry.
Okay.
My blog really for me is a hope or something that I want to create to show people that I'm passionate about the industry, about keeping up with the trends, about what's going on. And really for me, it's just more so to show people that I'm involved and up to date. I think eventually I'd like to do some, get some extra income from affiliate type marketing. but really, I think the main thing will be just to, like I said, just speak to my passion for what I do, what our company is going to do, and I think drive those people that might be looking for those types of services to my business.
I love it. I love it. Now, let me ask you this. What site, what platform is your actual website on? Do you know?
So Squarespace.
Weebly, Squarespace?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know if Squarespace has a blog plugin. Do you know? Have you checked?
That would be something I would need to check, definitely. And it's not too late to, we've just kind of worked on like the logo, colors, about section and so forth. So if it's something, it's early enough to where I can move it somewhere else. If you have suggestions, I'd be happy to look.
This is your two choices. Number one is if your website platform has a blogging, I'll call it a plugin, a blogging page that you can add, you could have it all right there. And like Saria, you wouldn't then have to have all these different platforms that you're paying whatever for to get different platforms. You could put it all together right on your website, and it would just be a blog, page under your menu. And when folks would click there, then your blogs would come up. And then when you wanted to publish your blogs and put them out onto social media, then you could open up that blog page, open up the blog that you want to advertise, if you will, and then just copy that URL. And that's what you put over on Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn and all those. And then when somebody would click on it, it would automatically take them back to that blog on your website. So in a perfect world, your website platform that you and the person that's working with you have chosen will have a nice blogging option. If it does not, then you can go out and find a blogging option like Linda and I have, and then you want to point it back to your website. Whereas mine, again, my page, I linked it right out to HostGator from my Vistaprint because that's where my original website is. And so when somebody clicks on, my blog, it automatically takes them to HostGator. And then when they read through my blog, and I say, you want to learn more about Kathy, and they click on that link, it takes them back to my website. And they oftentimes don't even know they've left my website and come back to it again.
Okay, that helps a lot. Thank you.
Okay, now, Derek says that Squarespace has a blog that its primary focus. Squarespace is competing with platforms like WordPress. It also has plugins for things like shopping carts. Their main sale is they want to try and make it so that people don't have to think of hosting and infrastructure. So if you're on Squarespace, you very well may have everything that you need right there.
Perfect. Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yes, Derek, thank you for that. Derek, let's jump over to you. What is your thoughts, and what is it that you're doing for a blog?
I'm not really doing a blog. I'm basically just a developer type who's kind of checking things out and looking at new stuff. Basically, in my industry stuff that I work on, it's like there's a billion of these developer types out there. Some are like socially inept. Others are more like do the social media and kind of put videos and posts about kind of how to use a tech thing, right? Like how to use WordPress or how to stand up your own whatever. And so like I've seen quite a bit of tooling in the code and the libraries that people have built. So I kind of was like, a lot of these kind of pieces are just really junky. And so I was thinking one of the things I should do is eventually get into some more complex things that developers can do, and maybe do like a plural site video, right? Maybe make like an educational video on how to do things and what to think about. And so as a developer type, I kind of was like, well, I already know how to host my own website. I've already used things like WordPress in the past, but primarily I've done it even deeper, right? I've taken things like HostGator and stood up VMs and stuck my own website, literally HTML, CSS, all of that.
Okay.
I tore it down like a couple of years ago because I was just bored with it. But so yeah, I think over time, I just want to try to create some sort of tech content that kind of gets into more of the technical aspects of how to do software and IT. And then maybe go further with some things that people aren't doing, like, you know, how to host a website using Tor and exposing it through the dark net and not having to pay things like the fees for a host name. So just really different kind of content, just try to add to the field, kind of like what David was saying about airline stuff that he's getting into. So it's like, yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking, but I'm not actively participating in any sort of blog writing yet. Just kind of observing what content creators today are doing, and just trying, if there's any market that I would want to target, right? Because I know that market targeting is special. Like, you have to do that in order to find people who might bring in like some sort of revenue, right? So
right. Because yours is a very specific market. Maybe you can answer Shanti's question about WordPress.org or WordPress.com. Which one gives you more freedom and to monetize?
You're talking about the URL .org.com. There's really no difference there, right? The key is that if you stand up a WordPress site, what you want to do is get a domain name. And then with that domain name, what you would do is you would point it at that site and wrap that WordPress URL away. Ultimately, you don't want any of those people that you have for competitors, or any of the people that like look at your content to have to care about what your website is hosted on, or any of that. Like, they want that content. So if you give them like a URL that's worth understanding, like if, you know, I'm going, like the company I'm working for has this URL that's like bamboohealth.com. And so it's very easy to remember, right? It's very easy to know about. And when you go there, you'll see this branding, and the branding is like the important part. It's supposed to leave an imprint on your mind. So when you're making content in your blogs, like, it has to imprint something. One thing that, like, TikTok, everybody's making these short videos, and, you know, you can scroll past these people and just forget them, right? But there are a few people on TikTok that the reason their videos are so good is because they found some content that people wanted to watch. They picked that market, and then they kind of catered to it and kept an image. There's a guy that's like totally different field, does chef stuff, does confectionaries and cooking. And he made these like reaction videos. Now, a reaction video sounds like kind of boring. It's like, it's just another person reacting, right? But this guy, he made an image of his like face side by side with some content that he's criticizing. And he just has this character that is consistent and alluring. So that's what I would recommend, is make sure you have a brand, like get your website URLs tied together. It doesn't matter whether you're on WordPress, Squarespace, Wix.com, or any of those others, really. It's more about just make it clean so that people don't have to think about your website working on their devices.
Good advice. Yes. And so again, don't overthink all of it. You know, just getting started sometimes is more important than getting started perfectly. And so action comes first and clarity comes second. And so take some action. Shanti, I'm glad you're taking action. David, I'm glad you're working with someone and taking some action. By the way, my significant other is a private pilot. We have 3 hangars and 3 airplanes here in Central Ohio.
Oh, so cool.
Where are you located?
Actually, you know what? I am just south of Chicago. I'm in Champaign, Illinois.
Okay.
But I just moved here actually from Cincinnati.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And Linda is taking action, and it sounds like Saria is getting ready to take some action with a teachable account, and she's going to start pointing back with the blog. So let's move over to Alyssa. Alyssa, do you have any comments or any questions? Would you like to share?
Hello, sorry, I couldn't activate the microphone. Yeah, I just started a kind of blog, but it's not a blog, it's just an Instagram page, but it's about it's on my personal profile, so it's not a dedicated page yet, because I just wanted to start, and maybe if it's successful, open a dedicated page. And
Just
yeah, it's about
for you for starting. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you so much. And yeah, it's about it's a kind of food blog, so I'm here to collect as much information as possible, any advice and yeah, suggestion.
Well, the only suggestion I have for you right up front is make sure that whatever you're posting, that you put it into a Word document or a Google Doc or something, in addition to putting it out on a social media post. Because if the social media gets shut down for any reason, does everybody remember when Facebook went off the air for like 3 days back a few months ago? That can happen. So make sure that you don't lose all your content. Make sure that you have it saved somewhere.
That kind of
Thank you
goes
so much.
to a good point I would raise for people. If your content is unpolitical or not political, then in general, you won't have to worry about social media sites kind of disappearing or being shut down on you. It's usually pretty stable if you use some of the big players, like if you host stuff on Amazon's AWS infrastructure or Microsoft's Azure infrastructure. So if you get your WordPress site and you put it on those, you're going to get mostly a 99% uptime. And that's something just to be aware of. The real problem today is when you use these infrastructures, like, when you're on WordPress, but you're being hosted by HostGator, and HostGator has like a privacy policy or something or an end user license agreement where it's like, you cannot post something about some country or something like Russia. That's where you got to be concerned. If your content gets political, sometimes you have to watch out for, cancel culture. But if it's non-political, cakewalk. You basically won't have to worry.
David, question.
Yeah, really quick, and sorry if you, I'm still just trying to wrap my head around some of these things. So when you say make sure that you have your contents saved somewhere, what does that look like?
I save mine on my hard drive, either in a Word document or a Google Doc. I save my articles, if I'm writing a module for my school, I'll write it in a Word doc first, and then I'll copy and paste it over into Teachable. If I'm writing a blog post, I'll write it over in like a Word doc first, and then I'll copy and paste it over into HostGator. But I always have a home base to keep all of that information.
Makes sense. Okay.
Anyone else? Has this been helpful for everyone? I hope so. I hope so. I want to go around and find out what is maybe your biggest takeaway from today. I love that everyone is taking action. I thank you so much for being here. This is our free meetup. We meet once a month here on Zoom, and it's always the first Friday of every month. And then I'm looking to see where my next one is. Bear with me. Okay, it's the second Monday of every month is our actual Newbie Bloggers Mastermind. So if anybody is interested, you can get in touch with me. I'm going to put my information right here in the chat. It's just kathybinner.com, and you can go to kathybinner.com at any time, scroll down. You'll see all the different lanes that I have, and scroll down to the blogging lane, and there's going to be a link there if you want to join the mastermind. If you want to join any of my masterminds, they're $25 a month. It's a membership site, and you can actually be in 2 masterminds for the price of 1. Just send me, I don't know, a little note in the back of the house there on my website, kathybinner.com, and let me know that you want to get into a second one. I would recommend, if you're in this one, which is the bloggers, we also have Build a Better Business, and those two kind of go hand in hand. It kind of helps you know kind of what to do with the blog once you have your blog. So I would give you both of those for the same price if you're interested. So anyway, that's where you can find me. If you have any questions outside of this call and you want to talk with me personally, no charge. There is a place on my website that you can tap through and schedule a chat with me one-on-one, and I'd be happy to chat with you as well. And there's no charge for that. I just want to see everybody, get going, get started, start making money, live your dream. I'm all about passive income. I'm a passive income coach. You see that right after my name here in my square. And so I want everyone to live the life that you want, have the freedom that you want, be able to work from anywhere in the world. If travel is your thing, to be able to travel. Whatever it is that says freedom to you, I want you to be able to live that lifestyle. And so that's my goal, is to help you get there. And I'm retired from corporate America. And so this is my way of giving back. And so all of my price points are low for that reason, because this is my way of actually giving back at this stage of my life. So again, thank you for being with us, and tap into kathybinner.com. Join us the first Friday of every month for this free meetup. Next month, we're going to be talking about promoting. So we're going to be talking about how to promote those blog posts, how to get those across social media, and an easy way to get folks to tap into your blog. And I'll include with that even to tap in back to your website or your Teachable platform or whatever it is, wherever you're trying to send folks. I can show you how to do that on social media rather easily and intriguingly, where people will want to click and come back. So anyway, with that, we're going to go for today. And again, thank you so much for being with us. And please connect if you have any questions. Any last thoughts on your big aha moment, or what was your takeaway for today? Linda, how about you?
I'm just so grateful for the constant encouragement and reinforcement that we get here, that we can do this, that it's not super hard, and that we can get our message out. And I just thank you for breaking it down into simple steps. And I think everyone here is feeling very empowered that we can all go forward with what we want to do.
Good. Thank you. Thank you. Shanti, how about you?
Biggest takeaway today, recommendation for a site store.
Okay. Good,
Oh,
good,
yeah.
good.
I
Good,
appreciate
good, good.
that. Thank you.
Saria, how about you? What is your biggest takeaway?
I'm with Shanti. I love the site store idea. I'd already kind of thought about that, but it just makes it more tangible. You know, been an entrepreneur for a while, and being an island is not a good place to be. So it's exciting to, I'm really thankful that you're doing this, because it is just so encouraging, and it lights a little bit more of a fire. So yeah, it's just nice to be in this group and be around other people that are doing this, and with you kind of at the helm who've already done it.
Well,
So
and
thank you.
please, yes, please come back each month and think about the mastermind. We'd love to have you in the mastermind. Yeah, David, how about you? What is your biggest takeaway today?
Well, being so early on, I think, there's just a lot to think about. And I hadn't really even considered, like, okay, when I write, as I'm writing these posts, using that to post on other sites, be it Facebook or what have you, basically just as many as you can to just get yourself out there. So that's a really good takeaway, something that I'm going to think about, in terms of, okay, what different ways can I do this? And then getting Derek's feedback from the tech side of the house, because it's constantly changing, it's always moving, and it's nice to have that insight too.
Yes, yes, definitely repurpose your content. And again, in the mastermind, we get down in the weeds a little more on how to repurpose it and how much to repurpose and all of that. So we had quite the conversation in our mastermind this month about repurposing. Anything from writing a book, a course, a podcast, a blog, magazine article, and newsletters. And you can use that same blog post for all 6 of those.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so you can repurpose. It's perfect. Alyssa, how about you? What is your biggest takeaway?
Thank you, everyone, first of all, for everything. And my biggest takeaway is the personal suggestion to store the information on a Word file. And also your final, Kathy, your final motivational speech as a supporter, which is really important to have someone always that supports us.
Thank you for that. Derek, how about you? What's your biggest takeaway?
Being a techie, I think generally the mentioning of the tools that you're using, it sounds like there's a little bit of acknowledgement of like the things like the Squarespace and the WordPress and all of that. But more specifically, I think it's important, the stuff that we're talking about, data storage, where you put your content. A lot of the creators I see today tend to talk about how their content is getting shut down in certain areas, so they try to post it elsewhere, and they're trying to redirect their people to these other platforms. So knowing where you're storing that, how you're spreading from that core repository out to different services is, I think, a thing that I think was a good thing to acknowledge was data storage. And then secondarily, along with data storage and having a backup, it alludes to the idea of enterprise storage. Like, how are you going to keep your content safe without losing it? So, I've worked in various solutions of data storage and stuff like RAID, but yeah, having your content secure is good. So that's kind of how it's taken away, is some of those things. There were surface level mentions, but I'm sure it'll get deeper for people who are like, well, how do I do this? And that's good.
Yes. And we get a lot deeper in the mastermind because we spend a little more time, and you have a little bit more access to me one-on-one in the mastermind. And so, yes, we do get a little deeper in all of those areas. So again, please feel free to contact me, kathybender.com. You can click through for a connect call with me, or you can click through to join one of the masterminds, or two. Let me know if you want to join, and I'll make sure that you can get into 2 different ones. So with that, we're going to go for today. So thank you so much. Saria, did you have a question before we go?
I'm so sorry. So
No,
the
you're good.
mastermind, are they typically pretty full? Because, it's kind of nice. This group is small and everybody can kind of get questions answered. Or the masterminds kind of blow up, or can you give me an idea of that?
No, we're smaller groups. And what happens is you get a lot of people that join, and it's like everything else, 10% show up and 90%, they get too busy. And so, yeah, please feel free to jump in. It's a smaller group. And then again, you have more access to me one-on-one as well.
Thank you.
Yes, I love that. Thank you for asking. Okay, we'll see everyone next month. Thank you so much for joining today.
Thanks, Kathy. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Kathy. Thank you, Linda.
And again, if you want to go to the replay, kathybender.com, all the free replays will be there of all, so you can go through all of these calls that we've had on Friday mornings. All of the replays are there at kathybender.com as well. So see you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you.